I think the other part of it is enjoying the journey and the process, right? Because it's really easy to say, I want to do this, right? And then just to try to do it. But you really, if you want this to be something that is a consistent part of your life that you take in through different facets and different chapters, it has to be something that you actually enjoy doing on a consistent basis.
I love that. That is a really, really important point, because the other thing, kind of two things I want to say to that. One is, I've worked with people who have had goals and they've achieved them. And like big goals, like I want to sell my company for 10 million, or I want to sell my company for 70 million, and they do it.
And then they have that hangover.
And then it's that they have a success hangover. It's like, okay, I got the thing.
Yeah.
And there's just devoid of happiness at that point. It's like, and they enjoy. Hey, welcome back to the Cash Flow Podcast with me, Pam Pryor. Glad to have you here, where we talk about everything money related in your business. So without further ado, let's hop right in. And welcome back to Cash Flow in this holiday season. And today happens to be the day after the night that Bitcoin hit the $100,000 mark. So it's happened. It's now up around 103,000 today. Just thought I'd share that. But I actually have a more interesting news story than that in our news segment today. So hang on for that. Then in our beer segment, tasting one of the beers from my very favorite breweries. You'll recognize it when we get to it. And then we're going to stay on our mindset theme going into the actual cash flow conversation today. And you don't want to miss this one, about compounding habits and compounding money. Take care, and we'll see you on the other side. So, we all know that we've never been completely happy with the weather forecasts, right? I know, in fact, I'll often say, they say it's going to snow 7 days from now. That probably means we're going to have a heat wave, and vice versa, because it's not the forecaster's fault. It's just the way it is. But here is a new use of AI that is really intriguing to me, because there's something called GenCast that's been unveiled by Google's DeepMind. That's a little bit of a scary sounding group, but Google's DeepMind unveiled an AI model that's capable of predicting the weather more accurately than existing forecast systems. So this is a major advancement in the field, and it's made a lot of headlines. But in short, they tested data from 1979, very good year, I graduated high school that year, to 2018 to predict the weather for 2019. And in the study, they found that GenCast outperformed all of the leading atmospheric predictors, which is the biggest or the best one is the Ensemble system. They call it the European Center for Medium Range Weather Forecasts. And the new AI model won over 97% of the time on factors like wind speed, temperatures, and any sort of precipitation. And it was also really fast. So it could produce 15-day predictions in 8 minutes. And the slowest or the fastest before this took hours to generate 15 days worth of predictions. So it also, and this one is really interesting to me, out-predicted the existing models in fast-changing hurricane paths. So it nailed those with a little more accuracy in both where they were going to go and their intensity. So anyway, this is a little bit of a change, and I'm expecting that we're going to see some people move around in the models they use for predicting the weather. So who knows, maybe we'll be able to rely on that next snowstorm prediction. For now, I'm just going to have a beer in the next segment. Hey, we are going back to our very favorite brewery, I say it like it's ours, my very favorite brewery for this week's beer, so I'm really excited, and I haven't tried this one yet.
Ooh, really?
So, Aristaeus is the brewery. It's a local brewery here in Bucks County, and they have won both 2023 and 2024 Best in Bucks County.
Wow.
So it's right down the road from us. We love everything about it. The owners, the wait staff, they're incredible. And I go and get my my replenishment from there for my refrigerator every now and then, every week.
Once a week.
Once a week. And we love them. So shout out to Aristaeus. So today we're going to try one of their beers that I haven't tried before, called Ditch the Crowd, which I kind of like.
Okay.
Not that I want to ditch the crowd, but every now and then you just want to ditch the crowd.
You need a little bit of solace.
A little bit of us introverts need to replenish occasionally.
You're an introvert?
Oddly, yes. That's a conversation for another day. But
Interesting.
yes, yeah. I learned a lot more about what that means since I've been studying all sorts of stuff about the mind and the body and the spiritual stuff and energy and all that thing. Yeah. So it's been pretty cool. But anyway, this is a West Coast IPA where, we know I love IPAs. You kind of
They're growing on me.
They say it is golden colored with balanced hop aromas and flavors. And it's brewed with Centennial and CTZ, single dry hop with Citra Mosaic, which we've heard of and love, and Hallertau Blanc. Hallertau Blanc.
We've had those, right?
Which I think we've had, because I had the same trouble saying it before. And Idaho No. 7. Now, that's a new hop to me. I didn't know there was a hop called Idaho No. 7, but there is. So I'm really excited about this. We don't have a lot about its taste profile, so we're going to have to define that ourselves. And be careful when you open it, because what I will tell you about these is that one of the reasons I love them is they're very carbonated.
Okay.
So that will bubble on you. You'll want to tip it into the glass immediately after you pull that.
So I shouldn't just shake it up.
Yeah, shouldn't even move it and then get that glass over there. Although this one now doesn't. That's like when you need somebody to help you with your computer and it's broken, and then an IT person gets there and it's fine.
Yes.
That's exactly what that was like. You're the IT person. We're actually are we using one of their glasses too?
I did choose the Aristaeus glass for you because I know that. Beautiful.
And that glass you have is from our friends and our IT support and our cybersecurity brilliant team, Travis Barker at Easy IT. And Cody sent that to me in a beautiful Christmas present last year.
That's amazing.
So, all right. So it looks like a hazy West Coast.
It's definitely hazy.
Definitely golden. All right, let's see.
It smells a bit fruity. There's some citrus in there.
Yep.
It's not nearly as citrusy.
Little orange is what pops out for me in this one.
I feel like orange has been a really common...
Maybe grapefruit orange.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like the grapefruit has been common in a lot of the beers that we've tried recently.
I think I must like that.
I think so.
Great head. It's about an inch there. Poured nicely. And
did not explode.
Yeah, I don't get pine in there at all I think the Mosaic is like a piney one, and I don't get that. But let's see what we got here.
All righty.
Ready?
Cheers.
Oh, cheers. Rah! All right, Aristaeus.
Yeah, that's an IPA.
That's orangey.
It's orangey and it's hoppy. It's more hoppy than
some of the other I don't get the hoppy.
No?
But I get the orange. Yeah. It's good. It's still good. I give it, but it's not my favorite from there. What else?
It goes down really smooth.
It goes down smooth, but it tastes a little more like orange, like a mimosa again.
I know. I feel like we can't get away from the mimosa. Once we had the mimosa beer, everything in my head, for some reason, citrusy, tastes like that one to me.
So I still, my two favorites are the Big Oak Bend, which is not an IPA. It's a Saison, which is amazing.
Is that the Rye Saison?
That's the Rye Saison. And then the other is the New England Fog IPA.
Gotcha.
Both of those are
the Rye.
They are both at the top. Now, that IPA tastes very IPA. This, you ready?
You need the
to me, this is mimosa again.
Yeah.
It doesn't taste like a beer to me.
It's more beery to me than previous ones that we've tried.
It does smell good.
It smells nice. Yeah.
It smells like a mimosa.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely more beery than that last one that was all champagne.
Awful! Oh my god!
We don't get their face when they do that, do we? Darn it!
We need a
camera on Wen.
We need like a specific Wen cam.
Yeah, we need to put that one of the cameras up here for the Wen face. I love it.
That's not as bad as that nasty one I had that one time. Guinness, I think.
You did not like Guinness last week.
But that is it smells like rancid. Like it's been out in the sun for a week.
Not this one, though. This one smells good. And there are a lot of people who would really like this. I'm going to give it a 3.
3?
If you put it in front of me, it's got the fizz and it's got enough of a bite. And now I'm tasting the hops that you're talking about. It's got enough of a bite that the citrus isn't massively overwhelming. Yeah. So I'm going to go with a 3. I'd drink it again. I probably wouldn't hunt it down. I mean, I wouldn't go looking for it.
I'm at 1.
You're at a 1?
Yeah, this is not one of my favorites. It's it almost tastes like kind of exactly like what Wen's described, like a skunked beer. Like it's like borderline skunky to me. You know what I mean?
Interesting, yeah.
Like not that it's gone bad, but like
It's just not your thing.
no.
Yeah, no, it definitely doesn't taste skunky to me at all. It's just it's a fruitier taste than I like. It's like it's trying to be both an IPA and a wheat beer.
Yeah.
Like a Blue Moon. It's trying to be Blue Moon with IPA
You
in
kind
it.
of like Blue Moon though, right?
I used to like Blue Moon.
Oh, and
I
you
still
moved away
like
from
it, but my friend Jeff just broke me and got me on these IPAs. And it's like once you drink black coffee, you can't go back to coffee with milk.
It just gets worse. You start going to espresso.
And it's not like it's actually better.
Yeah.
It's just you're used to that taste, so anything else doesn't have taste to it.
Yeah. Interesting. So I guess what would you pair this with? Food-wise.
Cheese and crackers.
Something salty, right?
Yeah, cheese and crackers.
Yeah, I feel like something
And crunchy
salty.
for some reason, I
Crunchy?
think. Yeah.
I feel like a cheesesteak would go really good with this.
Oh, that's an interesting play.
You know, like
Yeah.
savory. You got the bread, a good crispy
Yeah.
roll. To
Yeah,
soak
if the
up all
roll's crispy, I'm there.
to
For some
soak up
reason,
all
I
the
think it's
flavor.
got to have a crunch.
Yeah,
I have no idea why, but in my mind, this beer requires a crunch.
but not my favorite. It's not. I don't. It's,
Tacos.
It's not horrible.
Tacos. It would go right good with tacos.
You know what? You're right. It kind of has like not Corona, but
It's got
there's like a little bit of like that
Mexican feel. Slight.
Yeah.
Or maybe Tex-Mex or Southern California feel. And it is a West Coast, so that makes sense.
Yeah. I feel like it's not my favorite, but
I tell you what, if you're in Bucks County, Pennsylvania ever, look us up or look up Aristaeus Brewing Company because you got to stop by if you're a beer lover. It's a fantastic venue, fantastic beer. And congrats, you guys, on winning 2024 Best in Bucks again.
Yeah, it's also just a really cool like location and setup. I was looking at their website. I haven't actually been to the
that's right. You didn't come to our Brews and Schmooze there.
But they have like really good nitro brew apparently.
Yes, they do.
Which I was hearing about. And you're not you don't drink cold brew or anything like that.
I don't like nitro brew.
No?
Yeah, the nitro brew is not coffee, though. The nitro brew is beer.
I thought it was a nitro cold brew coffee.
I think it's a beer.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. I could be wrong. Maybe they do both.
Maybe.
Because when we were there for Brews and Schmooze, Leah got the nitro brew.
Oh, really?
And I thought it was beer, but maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was coffee.
But you're not a fan of like the extra?
The nitro makes things taste flat to me.
Really?
Which is weird because it's supposed to be hyper.
It's supposed to be extra.
I've tried 4 or 5 nitro beers and never liked it.
Interesting.
Now, a nitro brew coffee... No, it's going to be cold. I won't like it.
It's closer to a Guinness. I would say a nitro brewed coffee feels like closer to flavor profile wise of like a Guinness, but more carbonation.
So like my espresso or my Americano.
Not necessarily carbonation. But
my Americano is probably the warm equivalent of a nitro coffee because it basically pumps the air in to get that fluff at the top.
Not an Americano.
Yeah, that's what that machine upstairs is doing. An
espresso. An Americano is an espresso shot with hot water poured on top.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, what's the Nespresso machine doing?
The Nespresso machine just does it's supposed to replicate the espresso process.
So it's replicating it, but it's not.
It's not actually
So it's a fake Americano.
Yeah, because the thing with espresso, you need... It's interesting. I just got an espresso machine, like an actual espresso machine.
We have to call Henry Sims and get our updates.
I think I have the same one that he has now.
Oh, nice.
But it's... like you need a specific amount of pressure to actually create an espresso shot.
Okay.
You need a specific grind.
Lindsay does all. It's way too much work for me.
Yeah, I mean, we got the machine like a week and a half ago, and I've been dialing it in.
Oh, nice.
The whole time, like still trying to figure out the perfect grind consistency.
Consult with my daughter.
Yeah.
And her husband. They have perfected, in their words. I can't judge, but they have perfected the press and how much and all that stuff. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to ask them where they get beans from too, because I'm sure that they have like some good bean connections.
They do. They used to have their beans imported from Atlanta.
In Atlanta?
Because they met the guy who brewed them. I don't think they do it anymore because they found a place here.
There's so many good roasters and cafes that have good roasted beans in Philly.
Yep.
It would be crazy to go out, right?
It would. They're saving first for an espresso machine that they want before they save for things like a car and a house. That's how important this espresso is to them.
Honestly, valid. I mean, you start your day, right, with coffee.
Honestly, valid. I love that.
But, you start your day, what's the first thing that you do when you have...
It's coffee.
Yeah, right? For me, too. And if you start your day on the perfect note
but
every single day...
But it's so much work.
You start your morning using a $3,400 espresso machine, apparently.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, like, it's so much work. By the time you get your coffee, you're exhausted. Like, you got to put the right amount in. You got to pack it the right distance. You got to put it here. You got to steam it there. You got to do it. I'm like, for God's sake, Nespresso. Boom, 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 boom.
I love that process, though.
In the morning when you get up, don't you just want the coffee first?
Not really. No, I mean, because it's like
Lindsay's almost the same way. It's like a tea ceremony.
It's like a meditative thing. You
like
know
a
what
ceremony.
I mean? Yeah, like you're going through the process to get yourself exactly what you want. You know what I mean?
I like that.
And it's like a routine thing that kind of helps me center my brain before the rest of the day, which is interesting because today's topic is habits, right?
It is habits. That's exactly right. And that's what this is. And I think she does it before she works out.
Oh, I don't do coffee before I work out.
First thing she does.
Yeah, I think it's the first thing she does when she comes downstairs, and that's like 4:30 or 5 in the morning. And then after that whole thing's done, then she does her work, reads and does a workout.
Gotcha. Yeah, I can't do coffee before my workout.
But yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, she, I think, has to.
Yeah. I do pre-workout, which has a lot of caffeine built into it. It has so much caffeine built into it that like you literally have like pins and needles, like sensation in your body.
Wow. Okay, that's caffeine. But yeah, speaking of habits, so one of the things we're in the mindset series here in the segment where we're talking about finances, because what I found as a CFO for entrepreneurs is that mindset is as much, if not more, of the challenge for entrepreneurs as just the basic bookkeeping and accounting and understanding what they need to look at to run their business.
Yeah.
So we talk a lot about habits, and you have recently formed some habits that have really been life-changing for you.
Yeah.
And the thing that the reason I like this bridge with finance is it's about compounding.
Yeah.
And there's a book called Compound Habits, and there's a book called Atomic Habits, and all sorts of things. But, essentially we were just looking this up, and it's true. I'm going to tell you that the answer we got was not wildly off. But I do want to say what I did was looked up. I'm a day trader, as you know.
Yeah.
And one of the goals in day trading is, make 1% a day and then stop.
Gotcha.
Don't keep going. Just
I never knew that. That's
1% on your principal and then pens down kind of thing. And so I'm doing paper trading. 99% of it's paper trading, and you do that on, a $20,000 account or whatever. But say that I want to actually start doing this, and I put $100 in. And if I got a 1% a day, assuming you could trade 365 days a year, which you can't, but assume you could, basically what happens is every year it multiplies by 37 times.
Okay.
So if I put $100 in today, and I won 1% a day for every day of the year, which I guess you can do, but with some things, then that would be $3,700 at the end of a year. At the end of the next year, that would be $13,690.
Wow.
At the end of the next year, it would be $137,000. At the end of the fourth year, it would be $670,000.
Wow.
Right? So the point here is that you're not going to put $100 in and get $670,000 out in a day.
Yeah. It's not realistic.
You're not even going to see or feel what happens the first day when you only win 10%. Or 1%, because literally my $100 is going to go to $101.
Yeah.
And the next day it'll go to $101.11. And the next, it's just ridiculously, and it's so just like that with habits.
Yeah.
They creep up, but then they just go exponential, and it can happen whether they're good or bad habits.
Yeah.
So like the work you've been putting in day in and day out on getting in shape. Like, when did it hit you that you started to see and feel results? Like, was it immediate? Was it that first day? Or do you feel it compounding now? Or does it feel like you're making less progress today with?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I feel like with habits, the biggest thing is consistency, right?
Mm-hmm.
And staying consistent through ups, through downs, through plateaus, all of that is really the key to making the habit last and work and become something that you can continue to see the return.
Yep.
And I'm sure that's the same for investing.
It's very much the same for day trading.
Fitness,
discipline and no emotion. If you're having a bad day, 1%. If you're having a great day, 1%.
Yeah.
If you don't want to do it, 1%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for me, I feel like with the habits that I've done just health and fitness wise, it takes some time, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
you work to build up into different things. The cool thing about the way that I've been approaching this is we've been doing kind of like we talked about a lot of the Spartan races and
Mm-hmm.
different just races in
Yep.
general. So those are goals that we set.
You've got
for.
milestones out there.
Exactly. And
Okay.
each one that we've done has been a little bit longer or a little bit more difficult in a certain way. So inherently, the training has become a little bit more difficult in a certain way. And we're not looking at it now necessarily as health metrics, like I need to hit this lift here and I need to hit this here. It's more just what are we actually physically able to continue to output
Got it.
on when we're going through
I
these,
want to be ready for the next race where I'm going to have to be able to do this. And
yeah.
This is why I always laugh. We joke. I joke with Francis that one day he's going to call me and say, "Well, I'm going to climb Mount Everest now." I kind of see that as your end game of like total fitness.
That could be cool. I would be down for
I
that.
I can imagine you would be down for that. I just can imagine.
But like,
yeah, so that's really interesting because it is. I'm sure there are days you don't feel like doing it.
Yeah.
Especially like the one you were hungover like crazy one night. I believe it might have been pre-wedding night.
Yes.
And yet you had to get up and go run a race.
Yeah, it was. We ran that race on 2 hours ish of sleep. It was a 5K. It wasn't too bad.
And how tempted were you? You're gonna have to put the camera on you for this part. How tempted were you to just say, "Screw it, I'm gonna sleep until I have to get dressed for the wedding"?
No, I wasn't tempted at all.
Wow. Okay. And is that because it's now such a habit?
It's because I think it's two things, right? It's because it's a habit, but when you're doing this with other people, it's also because you don't want to let down the people that you're working with, right? And I think that's the other thing that is important with these types of habits, and something that we've done in habits that we're developing for our businesses, something that we've done mindset-wise to develop these habits, Pomodoro, stuff like that. It's doing these things with people so that you don't feel alone, you don't feel isolated, and then when you're struggling and you're hitting the plateau, that other person may not be, and then you have something to continue to strive to match, you know?
I love that.
Yeah.
I love it. And the other thing you said, and I go through fits and starts with this, which is kind of the opposite of what it is needed, which is consistency.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely true without exception that anything that I have done consistently in life has led to amazing success.
Yeah.
Anything where I've done fits and starts or, tried to do it all on day one, and it's just not sustainable.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things with life, with your finances, with looking at QuickBooks once a week, making sure you scan your receipts when you need to do them.
Yeah.
Deb will tell you it's like, you just clean the house every night before you go to bed, and then it doesn't compound. I won't say that, but she'll say that. And it really is just that consistency. And the other thing that happens, and I'm curious about this, and maybe you've just never hit this yet, when you don't do things that you know will be good for you, like you actively choose to not do the habit, or you actively choose to do a bad habit.
Yeah.
Have you ever run across that? Or are you pretty much?
I think so. I've definitely chose bad habits before, and that's something that I've definitely struggled with on a consistent basis. I feel like it's almost like not an addiction, but like bad habits become sort of like an addiction where
good habits become an addiction.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And you know what? It's crazy when you think about it like that. But the main thing I would say is, stress, anxiety, all that stuff is something I've always struggled with. We've talked kind of candidly about this type of thing. I've used different types of methods to try to balance these stresses, some good, some bad.
Yeah.
And anytime I really lean into the bad stuff, I do see a cascading effect across other aspects of my life, right?
Yep.
And when we talk about that, taking rest to me isn't always a bad habit. For instance, this morning we planned on doing around like a 5K run, and I'm still recovering from the last Spartan race. No, legitimately.
Well, you damaged your knee.
Yeah, today's the first day that I have woke up without like actually feeling pain, and it was one of those things this morning where I was like, if today's the first day I'm not feeling pain, maybe I should give myself another day.
Good for you.
And recover so that when we go back into this for the next time, exactly, I'm capable of pushing myself. But that's
not breaking a habit. That's wise decision making in a habit, I think.
I feel like though it's the mindset that I have, right, is the habit for me isn't necessarily running, right? The habit is doing something physical in the
Got
morning. And the choice that I made this morning was to have a full rest day today.
Yep.
I didn't go to the
Bingo.
gym.
Yep.
I didn't do anything. I just wanted to give my body the full day to kind of
Because
recover.
it's finally said, okay,
Because,
I'm done with what you did to me last time.
Exactly.
You're like, okay, enjoy the day.
Yeah.
But you're back at it tomorrow.
Yeah, but that is, to me, that is a lapse in the habit, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm taking that rest day and it's not as consistent.
I wouldn't call that a lapse in the habit.
No?
Because, no, I would call a lapse in the habit that you just woke up and said, I don't feel like it. You woke up and said, hey, I could do this today. It's not the best decision for my body.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really different than a lapse.
Okay.
Like, because here's my guess.
Yeah.
You're going to wake up jonesing to work out tomorrow.
You
already want to work
out now. Yeah, I mean,
right?
In between, I've been picking up your stuff here and just kind of
Bingo.
Getting the body moving.
Yep.
But yeah, no. I mean,
miss it. You feel it. And so this is really interesting. And my daughter works out every morning, like I said.
Yeah.
And if she can't, like there was one point where she had an illness or she was either sick or she'd pulled a muscle or something with her back. I can't remember the details. She'll kill me for that, but I can't remember the details. But she couldn't do bar for like a week. When?
Wow.
Do you remember? Oh, they're under headphones. I think it was like a week. It might even have been 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And that is her stress reducer. Like no matter how bad the day goes, if she's done that in the morning, she's going to be okay and be able to deal with it.
Yeah.
But she had this period of time where she couldn't. And so that's the other flip side of the habit is it is a good addiction.
Yeah.
And so what she had to do was find other things to fill that role for her at the time. Because when your good habit is physical, your body has to be ready. So I don't call that a lapse either. Now it was hard for her to come back from that because she had to be off it for a week. But had she chose to do it, she might have stopped being able to do it forever.
Yeah. Yeah, you can cause more damage sometimes when you don't listen to your body and to the signs that are being shown in front of you.
So I think your addiction or your habit or your consistency is doing every day what's best for your body, regardless of what that is, even if it goes against your desire to work out.
Yeah, that's an interesting reframe.
Yeah.
I think part of me is so stubborn that taking the morning off,
you can't even hear it.
Yeah, I don't know why.
This is mom speaking now, or grandmom, whatever. But
like that, there's that part of my brain that's like broken that I just need to. I need to do it. You know
well,
what I
it's
mean?
not completely broken because you made the right decision.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're fussing with it. It's like what you're hitting yourself for it. But that's what I challenge people about.
Yeah.
There's a difference between like me not getting up and going walking every day because I just don't feel like it. I'm comfortable under my computer and I'm typing and I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
That is inconsistency, as opposed to, I just had my knee replaced. I'm not going to walk for 2 days until I'm off this cane kind of thing. Or I twisted my knee on a Spartan race and it only stopped hurting 3 weeks after the race.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll take a day and let my body recover. I mean, I would actually congratulate yourself for that decision, because the easier decision for you to make would have been in your stubborn Francis 26-year-old mind, physically fit mind, the easy thing to do would have been a workout this morning.
Yeah. That's an I like that. I think it's always cool to have these types of conversations because it gives you that perspective. Yeah.
Yeah.
So moving to, I guess, habits overall, right?
Yeah.
For you, when does something that you're trying to do become a habit?
Become a habit. Yeah, that's a really good point. It takes a lot for me. So the times I think of the biggest impact on my life that I can think of as compounding value in return is when I was working at DuPont and getting my degree at night. So I worked, essentially 8 to 10 hours a day, and then I'd go down to the University of Delaware at night, sit in the classroom for 3 hours, 2 nights a week, and then the other 3 nights I was doing homework, and the other 2 nights I had to party. Yeah. So I was exhausted, but those were all habits.
Gotcha.
And homework was a habit, and going to school was a habit, and I didn't take a semester off, I didn't take a summer off, I didn't take a winter off, I just plowed through it.
Yeah.
And we had to physically attend. It wasn't remote, and it wasn't like night school. It was the same classes the kids at the college were taking, and that was a really cool habit for me, which I could not see the progress. Like I'd look at my how many grades I had to get before I was done with the degree, and then how many I had, and I was like, oh my God, this is forever. Yeah. But that compounded in its return. after I'd gotten both the undergraduate and the graduate, which was a 12-year process.
Wow.
Because you can only take 6 credits a semester.
Yeah.
That's the most you can do. So that habit, as it was happening, and I think of that 12 years as kind of day one, but even though it was 12 years of lots of days, there's no return on that till the end.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
But that habit, I just did it every day. I loved it. I was addicted to it. And, that there's no way I would have become a manager, a controller, a CFO if I hadn't really plowed through all that.
Gotcha. So is there anything from those things that you used to do that you've kind of carried your whole life, or have those types of habits been adjusted and modified kind of as you've matured and grown in business?
That's a really good point. I mean, I have habits now of meditation that have replaced, older habits. I have a coffee habit. I have a meditation habit. I have a habit of every night going to bed and listing what I know tonight that I didn't know at the end of last night.
Yeah.
And those are just habits that keep me motivated and moving. I wish I had a physical fitness habit, but I don't yet. But I'm going to get one someday. I like the routine. I like daily routine, but I find as I get older, it's harder to start one.
Gotcha.
At least for me.
Yeah.
It's been harder to start a routine. So anything that I've been doing that I don't even realize I'm doing as a habit, I do all the time. But I'm going to walk every day and I'm going to do this workout on the rower every day. It's one of the things that I suggest for people in that same situation is create something that you know you can do, that you're not going to break. Because the minute you break it, it's like, oh, I blew it, I'm done.
Yeah.
It's just like anything, with diet, with health, with money, with anything. So make it if I sit here going, I should walk 5 days a week. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Just say, hey, I'm going to walk for 5 minutes 2 days out of the next week.
Yeah.
And then the next week, I'm going to walk for 10 minutes 3 days out of this week. And build it slowly. Let it become the habit before you set yourself up to miss a day and throw it all away.
Yeah.
That would be my biggest lesson.
I like that.
Yeah.
I think that's a lesson that I'm still probably learning. My thing with habits, right, is I'm big into...
You're such a disciplinarian on yourself.
But also I'm so big into the self-help culture, fitness culture, stuff like that I see all these different ideas and techniques, and I'm like, oh, I want to do this, but in order to do that, I have to do X, Y, and Z to accomplish that, right?
Yep.
So for running, it's oh, I'm going to run, but in order to do that, I want to do this, and this to help me get to the point where I can do that. Get your leg
strength or endurance or whatever. Okay.
And I feel like I almost do that too much, where I break things down into mini kind of things where they contribute to building a habit long term, but there are things that can slow me down. And
you feel like the foundational work slows you down. You want to jump to the fully skilled piece.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why a lot of
you heard what I just said, though, right?
Yeah. But I feel does that make sense with knowing me? Because I feel when we do stuff work-wise, a lot of times...
You want to be the best.
Yeah, I look at it, I learn it, I try to figure out the process, and then I'm ready to jump in.
Well, I'm just laughing. The thing that comes to mind is when we were big users of Ryan Dice and Richard Linder's digital marketing stuff, which is just some of the best that was ever done.
Yeah.
And I bought the package so the team could use it. And I thought, oh, Francis will do a lesson a day or whatever. He called me a week later, said, I've consumed all of it. I'm like, all of it? It took them years to create this library. I go, yeah, no, I've consumed all of it.
I was diving crazy deep into that. I was addicted.
But you want to, you're like, Jennifer was doing this with the bookkeeping stuff. It's I want to be faster. I want to be better. We all, I think, have that kind of, all of us type A's.
Yeah.
Have that urge.
It's the drive.
Yeah.
It's also what makes us successful, I think, in the types of endeavors that we go through.
Yeah, as long as we also recognize that it's not like you could jump to knowing all of that stuff without going through that work. You just went through it really fast.
Yeah.
Would it have sunk in better if you went through it slowly? Who knows? Who cares? You did the work. I think the things that hurt us are when we're like, oh, I want that outcome. But it's when we say people are instant successes, Amy Porterfield, wow, she's an instant success. No, she's not. Amy Porterfield has been hoofing it for 15 years out of the gate, from filming herself on an eye camera in a dark room to where she is today. Stu McLaren and his wife, and Amy, they've been hoofing it forever. There is no such thing as an instant success.
Yeah.
And I think we look at these people, anybody we look up to in any arena, and the instinct is to say, oh God, I'll never get there. No, you can get there. You just have to put in that same level of consistency and habit forming and dedication to the thing if it's what you really want. And you have to believe you can get there.
Yeah. And I think the other part of it is enjoying the journey and the process, right?
Yep.
Because it's really easy to say, I want to do this, right? And then just to try to do it. But you really, if you want this to be something that is a consistent part of your life that you take in through different facets and different chapters, it has to be something that you actually enjoy doing on a consistent basis.
I love that. That is a really, really important point, because the other thing, kind of two things I want to say to that. One is, I've worked with people who have had goals and they've achieved them. And like big goals, like I want to sell my company for 10 million, or I want to sell my company for 70 million, and they do it.
And then they have that hangover.
And then it's that they have a success hangover. It's like, okay, I got the thing.
Yeah.
And there's just devoid of happiness at that point. It's like, and they enjoyed the journey, and that's when they realize, oh my God, I liked the journey more than the outcome.
Yeah.
But the second thing is an analogy I've heard used that I love, which is, say you're planning an amazing trip to Europe.
Yeah.
Right? And what's the fastest thing you could do? Never leave your house. Because you're starting at your house, you're going to end up at your house.
Yeah.
Right? But if you don't take the trip, you can't enjoy you can't. What's the reason for being that winner if you haven't been through the journey?
Yeah.
And not so that you can sweat it and be miserable and all that. I'm a big believer in manifestation and all of that.
Kind of like we talked about last week.
Yeah, but so you can enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because that's the fun part.
I love that. So are there any, I guess, like maybe to close, kind of come to the head here, are there any habits for you that you've wanted to instill in yourself that you maybe haven't? And then are there any that you recommend people to try?
Yeah. Mine is definitely daily movement and fitness. And at my age, I need to keep the things moving.
Yeah.
Definitely that's the one I want to get my head around. Recommend, absolutely life-changing for me has been...
You only have to choose one, though.
Good. Life-changing for me has been meditation.
Meditation?
And the thing that's funny about that, I will tell you that up until probably 7 years ago, I was the one who said, I do not have time for that. It's impossible. I can't make my mind turn off, blah, 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 blah.
That's where I'm at right now.
But then I ran into Emily Fletcher.
Yeah.
And she had a training series. It was the very first training series of any kind that I did all the way through. And what she taught, which was stunning to me, is you can't make your mind go blank. Don't try.
Yeah.
That's not the point. And it was the first time I'd ever heard that. Yeah. So all of a sudden I'm like, oh. And she explained it in a whole new way. Since then, I've done a few other things with Chopra, with Deb. And so I kind of have one of Chopra's meditations that I do now on the regular, and then other trance type things. Yeah. But it changed my life. Yeah. So I was the person who's like, I do not have time. And I will, any person who says I don't have the time, I suggest you go grab Emily Fletcher's first meditation practice stuff, because I have become 10x more productive and happy and relaxed than I was before. And I'll emphasize the 10x more productive. Yeah. If I go through a day without meditation with a pile of 8 hours of work to do, it will take me 12 to 15. If I go through that same day and take an hour to meditate, I'll get all of it done in 6, plus some.
Wow.
And I'm not exaggerating.
Wow.
It's like using the Pomodoro method. Yeah. It's just it is a game changer. It collapses time. I don't know what else to say except it collapses time.
I love that. Awesome. Yeah.
That's my game changer. Sorry, I didn't mean to get so wired up about it, but it's been a big deal.
I mean, it's good to get excited about these types of things.
How about you? One that you wish and one that you currently recommend?
I think one that I currently recommend is, give yourself what you deserve, right? And by that, I mean, it's really broad, but for me, it's I deserve to put the time into myself in the morning and take the time out of my day to be better in shape, to be better health. Mm-hmm. I deserve to focus on food. I deserve to focus on what I'm putting in my body. That is so much more
powerful than you think.
And I think that's like the big habit is just like reframing your brain to think like I deserve this for myself.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. And then I think the one that I wish I might have done or done sooner is, I think this is hard because
you do most of yours.
I try to stay consistent with a lot of these, but I think the one that immediately comes to mind is taking time away when I know I should. So like for lunch,
Like
I should
today.
always take time away from lunch or from work.
Like not
during
working
lunch.
out this morning.
Yeah, exactly. Like doing this more and thinking about the value that this does too, because I think that we deserve to have rest days. We deserve X, Y, and Z, you know? So I think that would be mine.
So the biggest thing I think, and I love about what you said, and I love that at 26 you're there, is so many people that I work with have not realized that they deserve the three big things: health, wealth, and happiness.
Yeah.
And every one of us deserves those three things. Yeah. And that's one of the big messages that we want to get out across the board. Take the time to recognize that you deserve the wealth that you might be generating in your business.
Yeah.
That will take the lid off of some of your capacity to earn and make money.
Yeah.
It's an astounding change. Or it's an astounding change that occurs when you change your mind about it. And I've seen it in client after client after client.
Think about me specifically. Last year, around end of the summer, we sat down and took the time to really dive into all this stuff and release the roof from that I was holding over myself, habit-wise, financially, health-wise, all that stuff. And look at how it's cascaded.
Great point.
You know what I mean?
And I would say maybe a year ago, you didn't necessarily know you deserved for it to be okay.
Exactly. And that's the mindset shift that I think happened when we started working together in that capacity.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I do deserve this.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad. And I see that happen like whenever I work on credit and stuff with people, is that, oh, wait, I can do it. But I do it myself.
Yeah.
I still will get the guilts. And put caps on myself because I've got the guilts. Mm-hmm. And I have to remind myself usually in meditation, no, this is okay. You deserve what you work for.
Yeah.
Or
what's
dream of. Or you deserve what you dream of.
Yeah.
Really.
What's the point of the work and the dreaming if you don't get to enjoy the
journey
successes
and
the journeys? Yeah.
The one thing I do think that I'm so glad I've learned is that I don't ever want to have a goal and have it be just the end goal.
Yeah.
Like I always am finding the next thing, because like right now, my big thing is learning day trading, learning about crypto. It's like I've got to have something that I'm just rudimentary at all times.
Yeah.
So that I know I've got a learning curve on something.
So that there's room for you to continue to grow.
Yeah. I'm not going to just stagnate.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think that's that mindset that all of us entrepreneurs
naturally have.
Yeah.
Good point. Good point.
Maybe we all have ADHD too.
Well, actually, I would venture to say that's probably true.
Yeah. That explains a lot.
We are a team full, I believe. So that's cool. All right. Well, this is great. I think it's important. And these habits, think about, maybe as an exercise here between now and next week, think about the things in your life, but particularly in your business, that are habits you'd like to create, especially as it comes to dealing with finances towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
Is it all that bad to just peel the onion back and put some processes in place so that they don't haunt you forevermore?
Yeah. The one thing I'd say is like, you deserve it. You
deserve it.
You deserve it. You deserve to put the time into yourself, to put wherever it may be, if it's health, if it's finance, if it's work, any of these areas. You deserve it, because the benefits that you'll see immediately and long term are, unquantifiable.
I cannot add anything to that. We'll see you all next time on Cash Flow. Thanks so much for watching the Cash Flow podcast with us. We want to bring more and more of this to you, so please like, share, subscribe, comment, so that we can keep bringing more of this content to you.